Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to issue 18 of the Spinner Rack. Nathan Kennedy, that is Tyler Baker. On tonight's show, Avengers 273. There's a gag I want to do towards the end of the issue. We didn't discuss this beforehand, but I didn't even save the image either. But I will get to that, and we will I will get to that issue like we normally do. We gotta shoot the shit. We gotta talk shop for a little bit. I haven't been buying statues. We had to pull back. We dug too deep in there for a little bit, didn't we?
It's getting dangerous.
Yes.
You know? Bills are still getting paid. I'm like, God, this could become like a really bad habit. So
yeah.
To think you and I both would just toss around busts and statues at about $100 to $200 a pop, like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, I get this is on the way too. Like we're wheeling a deal like Crockett and Tubbs. Like we're
yeah.
We're playing like the big boys.
Yeah. But I did cap it off with getting the Bowen Gladiator bust.
Yeah.
Had to get that. So
looked damn good too.
Oh, it looks amazing. Now, granted, said that we've stepped away from buying busts and statues for a little bit. That hasn't stopped me from buying some Marvel Legends.
Same here. I'm guilty too. Yeah.
Who you been picking up?
Oh, actually, I've been buying some classifieds that I have. Some that I pre-ordered, like Big Boa finally fucking showed up. I loved him so much, I got another one so I could display with both the bloody fist and the boxing gloves. I was like, oh my God, this. I've never done this before with any figure ever.
Wow.
So, and I just thought like the bloody taped up fist looks so fucking good. Like I was like, I'm just gonna get another one. So I bought it.
Here we were multiple weeks in a row bitching about all these other accessories, extra hands, extra heads and stuff. And for once, I guess it finally came in handy.
But at least it was just two sets. Boxing gloves, bloody fist. That was it.
Right.
There's no chopping hands. There's no balled up fists. Like they're both like hands that could hold dumbbells, but they just look so good bloodied up. I'm like, man, I got to have a Big Boa. I can't have Big Boa and not have his boxing gloves. Like it's a must. I have got to do this. So I was like, you know what? I'll get another one.
Are you displaying them separately from each other? Or are they still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably put one in another spot. Like I've got my Cobra set up, so I'll probably put the other Big Boa probably on the other side.
Okay.
I might put him with some Cobra Troopers or something like that. I have such a mishmash. My Techno Vipers finally came in, so I got them on the shelf. I ordered another Grunt, and I was going to put the Steel Brigade helmet on his head because they're really good army builders and they're fairly cheap. Like they're not going up in price like $80 a piece for an army. Like they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And Quick Kick still hasn't shown up at Big Bad, and he was at Hazard Pulse. Like fuck it, I'm tired of waiting. So I canceled Big Bad and got Quick Kick along with my extra Big Boa, and then I bought a Mutt and Junkyard finally used for $35.
Pretty sure they were still one at Target.
Well, but this was cheaper than having to get them at that price. Like I think those are like around $40, $45.
And
Hasbro Pulse, it's like $44.99. This guy was asking, I think, $30 and $4 shipping.
Need to jump back a little. I mean, obviously, I bought the retro Duke and Recondo.
Have you opened up Recondo yet?
No, still sitting in the fucking Target bag.
The minute I said it, I was like, "You dumbass! You know damn well he hasn't opened it up."
I do, and that was the biggest. That was the biggest thing. I stood there in Target for a good 20 minutes or so. I had them in hand because they were the only two there, and I'm like, I'm gonna get these. And then like I walked, and then I stopped. I'm like, should I buy these? Should I spend the money on this right now? I stood there.
If I'd have been your consultant, I said, well, look, you could do without Duke for now, but you got to get Recondo. That would have been my thought.
So I was just like, fuck it. I'll just go ahead and I'll just get them. But yeah, they're just sitting there in the floor along with another stack of classifieds that I've gotten in the mail lately that I haven't opened. I've been terrible about that. But
God, I can't imagine who's sitting in that stack that you haven't opened up yet.
But I'm running out of room right there. I got to do something else. I need to just take another 5-shelfer, probably put it when you go down to the basement, just have it displayed right there. Maybe get like a Cobra rug or something, because I know that they make like GI Joe and Cobra logo rugs and shit.
That rug, I've seen doormats of like GI Joe, but I haven't seen a Cobra rug. If you tell me where that's at, I'd love to buy one myself.
I could have swore I thought at one point Big Bad had that.
Well, I know they had some stuff on there, but I guess I'll just do it while we're sitting here shooting the shit real quick before we get into our.
Probably don't have them anymore, but yeah,
probably not.
That's something I thought about. But I need to give them more room to breathe, because the Marvel Legends have definitely infiltrated a good chunk of the room for sure, and obviously adding more to it. No thanks in part to our topic tonight. Actually,
I knew it. I knew it.
One could say, since I have the Wrecking Crew, I already have Baron Zemo. I'm like, who else in Masters of Evil exist in the Marvel Legends line? And I'm like, gotta get a Tiger Shark, right? Yeah. So Tiger Shark's on the way. Hercules, retro Hercules. I'm like, I would love to have him to the collection. Yeah, we'll explain more about that as we get into the issue. You want him as well?
Yeah, when we had our discussion with James a while back, like he was never like a character I just could take seriously. I just think he looked kind of doofus.
But there's something now, right?
Something there. I'm like, okay, I can respect him a lot more. Like, I think just because every time I saw him, he was just hold this big ass goofy grin on his face. It's just like, I can't take this guy seriously. He just looks like this big Neanderthal that I'm like, there's nothing cool about him. I'm like, you read more with him, and I'm like, okay, I have an appreciation. Like I said, that one brief story where Firelord comes to ask for Thor's help, and Hercules and Firelord get into it, and it's this big brawl, and he's just like, no, Galactus needs your help. I ain't here to fuck around.
Yeah.
And this big fight, and they go take on Ego, the Living Planet. Like, it's a great story. John Buscema illustrates it. I mean, it's a kick-ass storyline. Like, after I read that, I'm like, okay, I think I can appreciate Hercules a lot more than I ever did before.
He's still in stock on Big Bad. So.
Yeah, he should be. He's one of those guys. It's never too hard to find a character like him.
Yeah. But definitely cheaper. Well, I guess you could probably find some cheaper ones on eBay, but it was mostly stock photo stuff. So I'm like, I'll just go with Big Bad because they're who I trust. But we've got the Marvel Select Juggernaut. I was debating between getting that one and getting the one from the 80th anniversary 2-pack with Colossus, but I already have the Colossus from that set. And I was like, looking at videos, looking at comparisons, I'm like, he fits the scale with this. I kind of like the darker colors on him more, so I'll crack him open and put him on there. But then, gotta lift that shelf with the Wrecking Crew. But those comics are coming down, because that's going to be my Masters of Evil shelf.
I love that. And now I'm thinking that you're going to have to seek out certain issues that include the Masters of Evil.
Right.
Because they have varied. Like, there's been different groups.
Yeah, I've
all the way back.
I've looked at them.
All right.
Yeah. So you got like original Zemo who led the first group, and then Egghead was like the second round or second or third round. So this iteration here is actually the fourth incarnation.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a fun mishmash of a variety of villains.
Absolutely.
Tends to be kind of more Avenger based villains, but like the one led by Egghead, when you've got like the Scorpion in it, and it's just. I kind of feel like this is
Shocker's in there too. I think maybe not. I'll look it up.
Maybe further down the road. I don't think he was a part of those first few incarnations. At least not that I can recall.
All right, so the first incarnation of it. Oh, Ultron is the second, so Egghead's the third. So the first version we have Baron Zemo, Black Knight, Enchantress, Executioner, Melter, Radioactive Man, and Wonder Man. Ultron.
Which, I guess I was thinking, like, technically the first one starts out a bit smaller than, and then the second issue is when he brings in the Enchantress and
yeah. Oh well, this is just the running tally here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ultron had Black Knight, Claw, Whirlwind, Melter, and Radioactive Man.
I forgot about that because I've come so close to buying that issue that's got I think Black Panther, I think Giant Man, Hawkeye, they're all like binded with like trapsters, like foam, uh, uh, handcuffs, I guess is what you call it. Like Whirlwind's in the cover, Claws in the cover, Black Knight's on there, and Radioactive Man. I've come so close to buying it because that was like the first like technical cameo, I think or it's like of the Crimson Cow, which is like Ultron's kind of like disguise, which they reference in the Age of Ultron movie, and I don't know. Plus, it's Whirlwind. I'm a big fan of Whirlwind. I remember
bought that Legend. It's on the way.
But so what pisses me off? It's not the classic look. Like I have that one. I want the classic look.
Well, like, it's got to do for now.
I know.
It's got to do
but
for now.
I remember when I was looking at buying it when I was in Pittsburgh a few years back, and I told the guy like I really liked it because I've always been a big fan of Whirlwind. He goes, "Really?" It's like I've never heard anyone. It's like, well, I remember playing the Captain America in the Avengers arcade game. He's the first like main boss you fight.
That game sucks though.
Oh, it's fucking hard. I played it at Myrtle Beach in the arcade version for the first time like 30 years.
See, I've never played the arcade. Like John, I think, if I remember correctly, owned it. The shitty LJN game on Super Nintendo.
I don't remember. I don't remember LJN. I thought it was Data East. I thought that did that game.
I'm pretty sure it was LJN. Well, you don't have you keep talking while you don't have to hear me clicking and typing.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, but I played the arcade version for the first time at Food Line, like when it first came out, and then
well, fuck me, it is Data East.
All right. I was like, I was pretty certain it was Data East.
Well, then I see. Why was it so shit? Then it seemed very much like an LJN shit game. Like
they did X-Men and Silver Surfer.
All right.
But no, I mean it's a fun game. It's hard as fuck. Don't get me wrong. It's tough. It ate a shit ton of my cores, and I probably could have spent every quarter I had because I think I got to like level 4, and I was like, I got other games I want to play. I can't spend all day playing this, but it was a lot of fun playing it. But I remember seeing Whirlwind for the first time in that first level, and I was like, who is that? And like I beat him, and like, but it was just. It was just I always thought he was such a very interesting look. Like his first appearance, like when he's got a thing for Wasp, and it's not too expensive to get, but he's not prominent on the cover. It's just like a little headshot of him, kind of thrown on the cover. But it means something to me, and I just always have affinity for that character.
And we've talked about it before. It's not so much about key issues; it's about just kick-ass stories or stuff that actually just means something to you.
Or just cover artwork. You know what? It's not worth a fuck, but it's awesome. Like
if the cover looks cool. Egghead's version has Beetle, Moonstone, Radioactive Man, Scorpion, Shocker, Tiger Shark, and Whirlwind.
I forgot Shocker was in that group because I read that particular issue probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
I think I read it like the second time.
I need to get Egghead.
And Egghead's a fairly recent release. He came out in the last 6 months, I think.
Yeah. I know. I've been keeping up.
I was say, have you looked at getting the original Helmet Zemo?
The 2-pack?
Yeah, with Arnim Zola.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Oh, I have to. He's in my basket on Amazon.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it's a exclusive to Amazon.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, dude, I've been looking. Trust me.
Which I picked this issue not only because I told Nathan like a while back, and anyone who's listening, it's like we have to cover at least part of this because it's just such a fun arc. But I'm like, I guarantee this one issue, all the villains that are in Nathan, you're like, Mr.
Oh yeah. After I read this issue, I went through and read the not in the same day. Like I spread it out a little bit just because I was reading at work and I was just like, all right, well I'll read the rest of this tomorrow. So I finished the whole arc, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody because we will go through this issue, but I just highly recommend just going and tracking down the rest of the issues and reading those because the way that the story progresses, who else is brought into the fold, how it ends, especially, is just very much one of those the heroes win, but at what cost? And it just sort of ends on a down note, and just a real emotion to it. Like I actually felt something when that ended. I didn't like cry or anything, but I was like, wow, all right, that they really wanted to build this up and then end it in a way you're just like, holy shit, all right.
I mean, it's an explosive finale. I mean,
yeah, it really is.
The heroes get the shit kicked out of them, And it's not an issue of like, oh, they come in and just they want to. No, I mean the villains are winning for several issues.
Yeah.
And it's not like Cap just shows up and says that. No, Cap shows up, doesn't quite go as you think.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah.
have got to keep being pulled in, and this is, of course, we'll get into it. Like,
Yeah.
but I just love how Zemo schemes. He's thinking, he's plotting, and John Buscema does always such a great job with drawing villains that are contemplating, they're thinking in deep thought. Just man.
All right.
The
Well,
guy,
I may as well just get into it. Say no more. Say no more. All right, here we go.
With a cover that you kind of feel like, this was one of those kind of like the 25th anniversary kind of. I won't say there were a variety of covers. They did have one for He-Man to like this. There was one for Spider-Man, X-Men. I mean, they did all these kind of 25th anniversary covers with just a solo character surrounded by like the same border of the heroes. I think this was for 85. I think 1985 was the year they did this.
What are your thoughts on Black Knight overall?
I remember as a kid, he was in the first comic book I ever owned. Yeah, it was Avengers. It was from 1988, and I guess I think we just picked it up at the local newspaper, like magazine shop in downtown Radford. Had no idea who any of these people were. Thor, She-Hulk, Black Knight, and Baron. I forgot what the fuck his name is. Whatever. Or he's kind of like a wizard character for the Avengers. I don't give a fuck about him. But I remember I didn't think Black Knight fit. Of course, at the time I didn't understand who any of these people were. As I got older, I'm like, I don't know. I just look at this guy and thought he always just kind of didn't feel right. And as you get older, some characters still just don't resonate. I don't feel the need to I got to go out and get a Black Knight figure, but I don't mind him so much. And
I do like that. I do like that Legend figure though with the jacket that he's got, that 2-pack with Cersei.
Yeah.
I like that look of him.
Yeah.
A lot.
I can't remember which one that was. Well, I don't want to kill time.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up later. But I am more, especially knowing too, like going back and reading that he started as a villain, because he's a character I never had an interest in. So when I go back and start reading older issues like Black Knight, like the Avengers, and
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah. Is this Martin Lawrence? Holy shit, man! So I didn't recognize. Like, that doesn't look like him. And it's just like when you're learning, some of the older stuff, you're like, okay, a lot of these guys have been around a lot longer, and they have different, they've got a history, and to know that he renounced his evil ways, and decides to join the Avengers, and he's been a long time member. Like, he gets rotated out like a lot of Avengers do, but he is an Avenger.
Which
so
I think
I truly don't mind him.
I think it's important to do that too, just so it doesn't make the team too stale. So if you look here, we have Black Knight, we have Submariner, we have Hercules, we have Captain Marvel, Captain America, and we have Wasp. Well, how do you feel about this team overall? Like, the story arc on this is fantastic, but team wise, I guess I could.
I honestly I have a major fondness for Submariner. I love the character. I've always had an affinity for him since I was a kid. He's an asshole. He's probably one of the biggest assholes in Marvel Comics, and he's not shy about it. But I just think he's a great character. There's some fun stories with him, and I love him being a part of the Avengers. And he is and I love in this too. And in previous issues before, when he's the public, a few issues back when the Avengers make it public that they're going to make him a member, and there's this big decisive issue with the public. Like, they remember the things he did way back when he shows up in the Fantastic Four comics, he's essentially a villain.
Yeah.
And they reflect back to the things that he did back then. And I highly recommend reading the Roy Thomas run of the Submariner in the late 80s, where he retells from the very beginning, from his birth to the days of World War II, when he's teaming up with the Human Torch and Toro and Captain America as the Defenders and fighting during World War II. It goes through all these major events throughout, from his birth, World War II, to his meeting the Fantastic Four, to when he befriended Magneto, in a temporary alliance and fought the X-Men, realized this is fucked up. Just all these things, even referencing this one fight he has with the Hulk over Miami Beach. I'm like, holy shit, but it tells it from his perspective.
Yeah.
Like when you're reading those books, it's from like the Fantastic Four's point of view, essentially, like because the Submarine's a bad guy, and it shows like, he's allied himself with Doctor Doom. He's like realized, Doom was misleading me. It's just so interesting to see this perspective that he thinks he's doing the right thing in all these events. You see him throughout, World War II into the 60s and the 70s and things like that. But otherwise, I love Namor. I wish he was in the Avengers part more often, but obviously he's, the ruler of Atlantis in the Marvel universe. It's an interesting team. I probably wouldn't say it was my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's by no means like a bad lineup. I mean, they've had so many lineups over the year, and this is quite a splash page to open the book with Hercules. Just honoring
I think this is what we were talking earlier, and you were mentioning that you can never take him seriously and blah, blah, blah. I think that's what I kind of like about him, though, is dude gets pissed and he can fight, and he likes to be drunk, and he likes to have a good time. So it's a good mixture, and I guess, I don't know, it resonates with me.
Well, see, I think what you just said there, like, I don't drink. I'm more reserved. I'm more, quiet. I'm not, like Hercules likes to show off, and he doesn't hesitate to. Yeah. That's not my thing, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I guess I could probably relate more to like, Spider-Man and Captain America, and Wolverine, just because I'm like, Wolverine does things I would love to do that I'm like, it's just not my nature to, but the more reserved superheroes I tend to relate a little bit more to.
Yeah.
But Hercules is a welcome addition. I gotta say, like, it's if they were all like Captain America, it would be quite boring. And Hercules.
Fedmon says Marvel Hercules is if you fuse Nathan and Tyler together.
Probably, yeah, I could buy that, yeah.
But let's take a count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 people on top of this table.
Which I'm thinking, like, it really is a testament to not only Hercules, but how strong that fucking table is for him to hold it that long. And the balance of all those people to stand up and sit on it and not fall off.
Yeah. I mean, this would probably be, I would probably be this guy right here, sitting off to the side with my drink. Like, ain't no way he's going to be able to get this done. But let's take a look at our credits here. We have Roger Stern as the writer, John Buscema. Because I noticed this, breakdowns. When did they sort of change it from like pencils art?
Well, with this too, like, it's obviously like John did probably the layouts, and Tom Palmer comes in and
finished art. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jim Novak as your letterer, Paul Beckton as your colorist, Mark Grunwald as the editor, and of course Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief.
So guy goes to my gym, looks just like Jim Shooter, and I still want to stop him and say,
maybe it is.
Hey man, I love Secret Wars, man.
Here we go. The table does break. How about that?
Yeah. And everyone's having a great time for it.
Yeah, everybody's laughing.
Yeah, they're not pissed off or anything like that. But the bartender's a little off put, to have something like this. And of course, you look at the guy; it's like he's not a whole lot he can do.
Well, I mean, you got to think it's like, well, the Avengers going to cover the damages, which I think is a good thing to toss in there. Anytime something like this, the hero is out and about, anything breaks, it's like, put it on their tab.
Yeah, which is, you could easily see that it's something he just throws out loosely and never. At some point, I'm sure Cap and Arm are like, look, Hercules, we'll take care of this stuff, but you can't go around just breaking shit and just say, hey, put it on my tab. That's not how it works being an Avenger, dude.
An important thing to follow here. Keep an eye. So we're watching.
This particular guy who kind of started the bet with Hercules.
We're watching. But Tyler. Look. Look at that guy.
Look at the guy. He's got a scar on his mouth. Look at the way he's drawn. Look at the way he's drawn. Look. Look at that light. Look at that light. Look at that light. Look at that.
But yes, there is a wager that has been made
between this guy who just
asking a lot of questions, by the way.
Yeah, antagonizing questions too. Like he just kind of wants them to break down, how things are, and of course Hercules holding up his glass there triumphantly, like I'll tell you all you want to know.
It's like, tell me about all of the Avengers. So then you have Hercules say, "Oh, surely you must know the legendary Captain America."
Which I love that. He does a great job of like selling every member of the team. Like he puts them all over. Because if you were to pick this up for your first issue, and what a first issue it would be, you're introduced to the team in a very, dominant fashion. They're all established as like, okay, these are all heavy hitters. Even if you never heard of them, you know that this is a team not to be trifled with.
And I think that's the awesome thing about this, and an awesome thing that they would always try to work in. That you're always trying to keep in mind when you're doing this, of this could potentially be someone's first comic book. So you have to have at least a little bit. Here you get a little bit more, of course, with Herc talking about, oh, hey, let me tell you everything about everybody. We talked about Black Knight and your opinions on the Black Knight. How do you feel about this version of Captain Marvel?
She's fine. I have no problem with her. I think of...
I mean, Captain Marvel as a whole for you, and I think for me as well, is just with Captain Marvel, I'm just kind of like,
Well,
that character
honestly,
anyway.
too, they have, it's almost like and I felt like the title, once it's been used so many times for various male and female characters, it kind of feels like this is just a filler. Like you couldn't I think at one point she's called Photon, if I remember correctly. Like she doesn't maintain that name Captain Marvel. I think she's given a different name.
Yeah.
At some point, I may be wrong. I am not an Avengers historian, but I thought at some point.
I like how you specifically.
Well, no, because like I said, when I listen to conversations about the things I'm into, and people just spouting off with no real knowledge, I get fucking pissed off.
Well, yeah, but we have to state once again, we are not professionals here. We're merely just, and especially me, like Tyler, way more well versed in this. He picks these strategically because he knows that I'm going to buy action figures because of it. So that's why we're all here. And so we can also give you that same feeling. So you will also go and blow all your money on Marvel Legend figures.
And to get you to entice you to go and read Roy Thomas's Submarine and various other books that, or
and go and read the rest of this.
God, yeah.
Because it goes through 277. I think it's 5 issues in total. Mm-hmm. And I think I can't remember the issue number, but there is a Spider-Man book that is also kind of taking place.
And a Captain America book that's titled.
And a Captain America.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is fun to, like, when they reference it, you kind of feel like, okay, now I got to finish this.
Now you got to go read it.
Read that, and then come back to the Avengers storyline.
Yeah. It's a good business tactic.
Damn right. But she's fine. I mean, I'm not drawn to her. If I was to have read and illustrate a select group of Avengers, she wouldn't be in it.
Did you buy that 2-pack with her in Doom?
No, and mainly just because I would see Doom available by himself.
Yeah.
And I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, and I need to do that before they decide. This is
going to be $500 now.
Yeah, because don't you know he's going to get fucked up in the new latest wave of Disney Marvel movies? It's going to be great, and they're going to hire Martin Lawrence to play Dr. Doom.
I know they did cast Galactus. And that seems okay. I'll hold out hope that maybe they're going to start to kind of turn this around because they've seen the dwindling receipts. I don't want to linger on that.
Well, but I will say this: dwindling receipts doesn't mean the movies are going to be any better.
True, but I do think that it kind of puts them a little more in a panic mode. It's like, all right, let's try to get back to the basics.
But I'm curious if they realize why they're not doing good, as opposed to thinking, oh well, people are just fatigued. So we'll just do one shitty superhero movie a year as opposed to 5.
It could be it too.
Yeah.
But am I tempted to get this Captain Marvel Doom 2-pack? Yes.
Well, I want it just because we need more Doctor Dooms. I would buy a Doom 2099, even though I never read those books, but I just love the character Doctor Doom. So
right. We talked about Black Knight at the beginning of this. Not as much a fan of this look. I like the look.
This is the look it's because
I like the helmet. Yeah, I like the helmet, but I kind of like him in that Marvel Legends look where he's got the jacket on, but he's got this underneath. I don't know. There's something about it, a contrast to it that I enjoy. Namor, of course, Submariner.
Fucking rocks.
I mean, look at this. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm
gonna fuck that submarine up, man.
Yeah. I heard you and Submariner didn't get along. So it's just more of these questions just bringing out because Hercules is obviously getting more and more intoxicated. He's becoming vulnerable. He's like, I'll tell you anything you need to know. Namor's headstrong and tends to speak out of turn, but he's really proven himself a noble ally. I shall miss him. And because then there's this whole thing. It's like, oh, did he quit? No, he's just taking a personal leave. He may return. ...
Well, and that is established in earlier stories when the public are just like, some people love it, some people hate it, and he is having some issues in Atlantis. So he's like, I'm going to go deal with that. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a graceful, like, look, I'm going to step away to let the shit cool and then take care of things at home. So. Yeah. And then he decides to poke and prod him about the Wasp, which is in earlier issues too. Hercules is not too fond of her leadership at all. Yeah. He keeps it internally,
Which is an interesting thing when I was reading. I was like, oh, okay. Me being just new enough that I didn't know Wasp is the leader of this team. One would assume, just looking at the roster, that you would be like, all right, it's either Captain America or Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, she was the leader back there in Secret Wars.
Yeah,
but Captain America kind of given the reins, mainly just because it makes more sense for the kids, the new readers, to see Captain America as the leader as opposed to the Wasp because she's a lesser known character.
Right.
But it's interesting to see her as the leader. She has her struggles, of course, but
definitely pinches a nerve there.
Yeah, ha ha.
So much so,
knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah, punches him out the window. Look at this. The end is near. Repent. I kind of like that. Though it's just that you would expect
just some random asshole in the street corner of New York, just spouting off bullshit like that.
And of course, Hercules is like, "Oh shit, what have I done?"
Yeah, within seconds, like he's like, "Oh my god, yeah," and then
like,
bang,
fuck, man!
The sound of that truck just crashing right into his shoulder. It's a beautiful illustration of that.
It is. I mean, we can linger on that just a little bit longer. Just everyone at home.
I mean, it makes you think of like if the Thing or the Hulk were to ram.
Absolutely.
I could just hear the sound of like a Volvo truck crashing right into Hercules there. Nathan's like, "Hey, I helped make that." In a roundabout way.
I didn't do shit. I mean, of course, now Hercules is, I got to check on the driver. He walks away. It's like, oh, man. So it's like the glass, the table, now the truck. What are you doing, dude?
Well, he gets the guy up and decides, I'm all right. He goes back to a kind of a inconspicuous van and finds Yellow Jacket on the inside, keeping tabs on what was going on, because what we just saw was done deliberately to get Hercules worked up.
And this is the second version of Yellow Jacket.
Mm-hmm. And as we see, the irritating bar hop was none other than the Wrecker.
Which is kind of, I didn't know he had it in him.
Well, you kind of would think, too, like, it would be so hard traditionally for the Wrecker to avoid
confrontation.
Oh my god! Like,
yeah, he got knocked through a window and he didn't get up and immediately wanted to retaliate.
Like this is like, but this is part of the plan. Like you'll get your action soon enough. Is what he is essentially. This you'll find out soon enough. But this is why he's not retaliating. Right? This is just part of reconnaissance. Is all it is.
And I love the dialogue here between the two of them. It's like, I don't design things that fail, Beefcake. Now put on your shirt before you catch a cold and don't forget the mask, huh? Something about my kisser bother you, Yellow Jacket? Use that thing for kissing?
You must lead
a lonely life. Oh, man.
Shut up.
Yeah, so a good bit of dialogue there. Now we have Moonstone.
Who's getting the latest update on the latest scheme that's going on here, and hearing what they had to say, and obviously she's being told this is not your role here. And who is speaking to her?
Yeah,
none other than Baron Zemo, the second Baron Zemo, the son of the original Baron Zemo.
Yeah, which we're going to come to find out that this whole plan is essentially just the plot of revenge on Captain America because of what Cap did to his father, and it's torn Baron's family apart.
Which, when you see the movie Civil War and you see that instead of this, It's one of the many issues. Even though Civil War is a good film, there's a lot
Yeah.
of problems with it, and that is one of them right there.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where decisions, it's things. I get it, but it's.
But even so, it's like no. My friend was on part of that disaster when Ultron took over. So now I want to tear apart the Avengers. By the way, my name is Zemo. Fuck you. Fucking lame. Then they carry him on into the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And he starts dancing and turns into a fucking meme. And everyone's like, "Oh, this is so funny. This is great. It's all of Disney. Like comic books, all funny again." Because they were called funny books back in the day.
I didn't want to. I don't want to dig on it too much, like we
I just want anyone who thought that was great. What the hell are you talking about? Get out of your damn mind.
So we get a lot of dialogue here. This is kind of unraveling. Hey, I have this plan. There's formulae. We got to get all the pieces in place.
You're not. It's not your duty to take time from what I've asked you to do, what I'm paying you to do, to take reports of reconnaissance of what my ultimate plan is about, and that's not your part. It's not your duty. Yep. And establishes internally she's intelligent. Moonstone is not just a bumbling criminal for hire. Like she's intelligent. She's one of the smarter of the group based on what she's being asked to do.
And she's kind of the backbone of this whole plan.
Yes. With what she puts together really helps Zemo's plan come together, because pretty much everyone else in this group are pretty much hired muscle.
Yes.
Moonstone is essentially the only other intelligent, member of this group.
Yeah. So you have Zemo's like, you right here, and she fuck you. And
you right here.
and
then we get some nice,
eternal dialogue.
Yeah. I just love. I mean, John Buscema, like I said, you think of Mephisto and Loki and those famous shots in those Silver Surfer books of him drawing Mephisto and Loki contemplating, pondering, brooding about how I'm gonna, how is my scheme going to come to fruition? How am I going to make this happen? I just love seeing villains drawn like this. They're they're not being crazy and loud. They're contemplating, which is why I always like to think, you see Skeletor, Mum-Ra doing that in Snake Mountain and in the Black Pyramid. All the great villains they sit around contemplating. It's just moments I cherish these moments with villains. Doctor Doom does it. Magneto does it.
Yeah. Well, let's highlight some of the dialogue here. He says, of all the super criminals I've brought together, Moonstone presents the most direct challenge to my leadership, but hardly the only one. The Wrecker's complaint is a common one amongst my more physical recruits. If I'm going to keep them faithful to me, I must show them some action, which is important, because all the muscle, they're eager. They want to beat the shit out of the Avengers. They want to take on some of these superheroes. And if you keep them locked away too long, that could have a tendency
they start
to turn
turning
around
on each other.
Yeah.
And just him like showing that this guy is breaking down everything. Like, we have not met the group yet, but he's already letting you know that as a reader, okay, the Wrecker wants to fight. If you know who the Wrecker is, he's a brawler. He wants to get at Thor or Captain or whoever. He just wants to brawl and take on someone. Like, it's just nice that he's taken account of all these different mentalities and perspectives that he has brought together, that I've got to make this work here, and don't do it in a hurry. Because if you've seen a lot of comics or movies and stuff like that, the guys who want to fight, they tend to challenge leadership when they don't get their way. So you've got to take all these. That's what makes these groups so much fun. And when you see them work for a while, is that the leader's really taking time to make sure everyone's on the same page. Some may be crazier than others, but you take advantage of that, but you place it in the right, time and use it when it's to your advantage, and not just say, no, we act when I say so, and say nothing else. Like, as this story unfolds, Zemo is he's I guess for a manager of an evil team, he's a very people person.
Yeah.
Like, he goes to everybody. He's not about telling people, like, look, I'm not paying you to do this, or no, don't do what I say.
He belittles them enough, but not too much to where they're gonna turn on him.
Yeah, like, they still listen to him, and he really does. He knows how to hype them up, and it's just I don't know. I think he's a great character because of his leadership.
Well, not only just a great character, but I'm sorry, but I look at him. I love the color scheme, the design of the character. I love it. But some more dialogue here. Yet this is when he's really, you see the tactical aspects. Yet if I strike too soon, I'll fare no better against Avengers than did my father. There we go. Yeah. Now I must first learn more about the Avengers' affairs. Captain America is my most formidable enemy. I must be certain of his whereabouts, and I must tolerate the treacherous Moonstone, at least until she can give me the means to deal with the most powerful Avenger of all, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So he wants to make sure all the pieces are in place before he executes this plan. So now, in that moment, speaking of Captain Marvel, we get to see what Captain Marvel does, what she's capable of, how quickly she can move around, and
just becomes a speeding light, essentially.
Yeah, beam of light.
Just transport her entire body through the moon itself. I mean, it's not something to be taken lightly by any means, and I love that for our new reader, Zemo's building her up specifically.
Yes.
Because she does. Well, I mean, we'll let the story continue to unfold here. I feel like it's so easy to spoil like things.
Yeah,
I haven't read anything else.
So what's she gonna do? She's gonna go to France
for breakfast because that's what she can do right now.
Well, I mean, you work up an appetite when you're like going through the moon and everything.
And it's like, okay, who would be serving breakfast at this time? Like, because you don't know, what time it is in the States, but clearly when she gets back on Earth. It would be breakfast time in France, and she can just go to France for breakfast at the speed of light.
I guess this brings up a very Brody Mallrats-esque kind of question. Even though you can travel this quickly when you're going through the multiple time zones, do they still experience jet lag? I guess not, because
probably not.
Superpowers kind of negate the fatigue that a jet lag brings along.
Like they don't operate like a normal human would.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I really feel like all the superheroes because
at least in this regard,
fly,
at least in this regard.
Well, I feel like the Human Torch after a while probably would get fatigued.
Yes.
Because even though he could fly, that's not his main power, but that's a nice bonus to his radioactive powers that he got. But I think of like Superman probably could go a lot longer and not feel like you said, jet lag.
Well, because he's powered by the sun too.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that would never stop.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the heroes that have like Iron Man, War Machine can fly, but because of their suits, their human bodies, I feel like would still probably become a little fatigued.
I mean, they still gotta get tired no matter what.
That's what I feel like Captain Marvel would be above the rest in that regard. But she shows up and she knows how to speak French. a very classy lady,
Of course.
And Yeah,
and the waiter asks, "You are the American Avenger, Captain Marvel?" No, yes.
He's like, "I'm an idiot."
Yeah, I'm a dumbass. I was like, "Is that your chair?" It sounded like you farted just now.
No, it's my chair squeaking there. No, if it was a live round, it would have been more windy.
Oh yeah, it would probably. Yeah, your camera would have shook.
Yeah, it would have sounded like a Rocko's Modern Life fart for sure.
But she goes on to say, "I haven't really taken advantage of my powers to play World Traveler that much. I'll have to do this more often." So you got to.
Hell, if I could do what she did, I mean, why the hell not? Like,
oh yeah, if I could just fly to France right now and just have some breakfast, hell yeah, I would do that.
And come back, fly to New York, get some race pizza, and fly the fuck back.
Yeah. More Eternal dialogue from Zemo. Overnight telemetry scans show signs that a variant high energy beam crisscrossed. There we go. But I was like, what? Both Moon and Earth before disappearing over the Gulf Coast. It can only have been Captain Marvel. We must find a way to neutralize her.
Nice one panel to show that this guy is watching and observing, as you'll see more in this issue of how much watching and observing he does before, all right, we're ready to put this plan into action.
So here we go. Moonstone, of course, working on something. Oh, what could it be?
Yeah, she's working on this individual called Blackout, who is going to be very susceptible to her mind control, which is all part of Baron Zemo's ultimate plan. And that he's not quite sure, like, okay, is this going to work? And she's like, I'm confident it's going to work. And I'm like, well, I need you to show me that this is going to work.
Yeah.
Because this plan's not going to work until your part is successful.
Love the art here too.
Yeah, it's like this guy's he's like a vegetable. I mean, just completely, he's completely under. And he can create this cold, black dimensional
Dark Force.
Yeah.
Dark Force, it's called.
That just surrounds you, and you're pretty much, you ain't getting out until he just decides to.
She says nothing can get through it, and he was like, all right, well, let's see if my weapon can get through there.
Yeah,
and it doesn't
kind of
work.
based on his father's old disintegrator.
Yeah.
Or I think that's what it's called. But Blackout is he's clearly a much needed member of this team, and he's under Moonstone's control. So that part of the plan is all right. We're up and running here, and then all of a sudden, what the fuck is that? They hear this like big thunderous, banging around going on, and he's like, I know where it's coming from. And sure enough,
yeah,
Mr. Hyde's had a little too much of Pile Driver's mouth. Which, if you read any stories of Wrecking Crew, Pile Driver is not only he's not the dumbest, but he's also like the one who doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
No, I think Bulldozer is probably the most dumbest just because of his dialect.
Yeah.
Or how he talks. Pile Driver, I think, would just get on everyone's nerve. He just never knows when to shut the fuck up, no matter what story you read he's in.
And pretty much anytime you see Mr. Hyde, he's gonna look like that.
The face and the name alone is a throwback to the classic literary character, but he is definitely not. He's a Thor villain for anyone who doesn't know who he's kind of he's fought Thor several times. I can't remember if he's fought the Hulk or not, but definitely someone you do not want to antagonize, which is kind of odd. And Moonstone kind of comes in trying to calm the shit down. He doesn't listen.
Yep.
And doesn't respect her. And suddenly he respects Zemo very quickly. And Zemo tells him to calm the fuck down. And he just
you can see it.
You just tell us it's like he's eager too, but this was done, as we find out, deliberately.
Yeah.
And of course, Moonstone's just all right, I'll whatever.
Yeah.
She kind of takes is like he didn't listen to me. I don't get it. Like, why the fuck did he listen to you so quickly?
Yeah.
I
can't get over that. Does Zemo have some power ability he's kept hidden from me? Did I do okay, Zemo? I waited 5 minutes for our rest, Hyde, like you asked. Phew. He's one mean son of a gun. You did fine, Pile Driver.
I like that. Like, Zemo's like not taking a moment to like cut him down or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. It says right here, I suppose you had your reasons for wanting me to go a few rounds with him, but I don't think I'd do it again. He's crazy. And then Zemo
Which is saying a lot from the Wrecking Crew, because they just love to fucking fight. That's all they live for. Fighting and plundering, and it definitely it raises the value of Hyde's place in the Masters of Evil by saying a statement like that.
Yeah, one should be sufficient. You'd be best to get some rest. Oh, and I avoid speaking to Hyde for a few days.
Yeah, it's like no kidding. But I really appreciate a villain who's not talking down to everybody. Like he is speaking to them very on their level. Like he's, he wants them to work for them. It doesn't help too much when you go around and just belittling and berating everybody that you have. You want them to come work for you and respect you as a leader. So it would, like so many villains. Always, Skeletor's guilty of it, and Hordak is too. Like talking down to everybody, smacking them around. But Zemo is a villain that he wants you to respect him and follow his leadership. So he's going to show you, respect to a certain degree. He's not just calling Pile Driver, "Now get out of here, you idiot."
Yeah. He goes on to say, my palm injector packs sufficient concentrated tranquilizer to knock out an elephant, just enough to sedate Hyde. Moonstone will figure out that I had prearranged this little charade before long, but for now, she's been thrown off her guard. Hopefully, I've bought enough time to safeguard my command. So just always plotting and planning. And we go from that now. We're going to Black Knight and Wasp, where they're having this posh Manhattan night spot. Ooh, celebrities.
For the March of Dimes.
Yeah, it's like, and all the stars are here.
Yeah, and you could just picture like the spotlights, shining around.
Yeah, you can hear the music's like just this like weird fucking Entertainment tonight. Let's ask you about all the horse shit in your lives.
Yeah, and the Wasp and Black Knight are there, and the Wasp is looking pretty rocking. Especially the panel down below when she's kind of leaning over, smiling into the cameras, is a very right there. That is a very.
Oh, it's just a little derpy right there. A little bit,
I don't know. To me, I think the way she's kind of like smiling into it and kind of looking, like posh. I don't know. I just think that's probably like the best I think of her right there. I like that illustration. But they're just kind of asking about her situation, and they're there to make a big public appearance because the Wasp is kind of like she is
she's the leader. So and one of the questions asked here is like, oh, hey, is Submariner left? Is this true? Oh, no, he's taking a leave of absence.
Just always having to answer all these questions, like how celebrities are always asking, "Are you fucking that guy? Are you dating her?"
But Black Knight's like, you were informed by whom?
Yeah, just pretty much calling us like, okay, so you're just talking shit. You don't have any valuable sources. Like,
anonymous tip, all right?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like, what the fuck ever. Then, of course, it's starting to get a little bit more, like, come on, man, let's just back off. And then Paladin shows up here to kind of calm it down. And Black Knight's not too keen on another man showing up to kind of walk alongside the Wasp's arm at this gala. While Baron Zemo is just, I love that pose. You can see him like turning in his chair, just watching him, observing more of this action here. I just love the subtleties and these little
because
details.
He's trying to absorb anything that he can too. Is like, what can I use to my advantage to draw anybody away? So this plan, I can execute this plan better than I ever imagined.
And locking in on the look on Black Knight's face, like Black Knight, okay. He clearly is kind of like the third man on this evening out here, and he's clearly not happy about it. So he'll probably be going home alone later.
And then the Fixer pops in
to let Zemo know that this new headpiece is ready to go, which looks exactly like the old one, but it has a few modifications to it, and it all has a purpose.
Yeah. Well, I love the dialogue here where Fixer says, I made all the modifications you wanted. And then Zemo says, yet it appears no different than before. It even weighs the same. You're certain it will work? I fixed it. It will work.
Yeah.
It is his name, after all.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I'm positive about that. So he puts it on and bring everyone into the briefing room. And it's like, all right. And just does it without question. Oh, and right here.
Yes.
Is
Operation Flag, and this is when the Fixer says, good news on that front too, sir. Captain America's been sighted in southern Florida. As per your instructions, I've already dispatched Operative Whirlwind to intercept him.
Yeah, and that is a separate issue that you can go read. I have read that one as well. Not as memorable as this, but still, it's
it's a good companion piece.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like the Spider-Man companion issue as well.
But yes, here we go. I want everyone assembled in the briefing room at once, and because it's been building this moment. We've seen Wrecker, we've seen Pile Driver, so we know. All right, Wrecking Crew is involved. You have Fixer, you have Moonstone, but then it's kind of like, all right, well, and we've seen
Mr. Hyde and Yellow Jacket. So
yes,
which already is like, okay, that's a pretty fair amount of members of this group, but God, that ain't all of them.
No.
And holy shit, here we go. This is probably, to this date, outside of Secret Wars, probably the biggest group of supervillains assembled for one purpose like this. Secret Wars has probably got it beat, but this is just like, we got them all here. Like most villain team ups don't go more than 2, 3.
Yes.
And the matches before that were 6, 7 guys, including the leader. It wasn't like a whole. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 14 guys. And you throw in Whirlwind, who's kind of working as a mercenary for this group, not necessarily like but still, it's like.
And Gray Gargoyle is also listed as part of this team, so I think there's some stuff that happens prior to this. Maybe.
I was thinking Trapster was a part of it too. I might be getting confused with another issue where Whirlwind and Trapster team up in an issue of Captain America.
Yeah, you might be.
Yeah.
But look at Tiger Shark, man.
Yeah. Which I'm like, yeah, I was going to say Nathan has the first appearance of Tiger Shark in his collection.
I do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad. Titania here. We got Goliath. Breaking Cruise
I love the poses for everybody.
Yes.
I like seeing Moonstone just kind of leaning on Goliath as he's kind of sitting on the ground with his arms on his knees. Titania looking all hot and shit, and Absorbing Man's always got to make sure that ball and chain's very prominent on his appearance, and seeing Bulldozer with the chair turned around backwards, leaning over on it, and Tiger Shark looking all dominant. Just tells everyone to shut up.
And Thunderball being there just because Thunderball.
Oh, and I love how Bulldozer is trying to be cool next to Thunderball. Thunderball too is definitely the most intelligent of the group.
Yes,
and will continue to be so. And I would love for you to read that story arc in Amazing Spider-Man called The Round Robin, where it's Night Thrasher, Nova, because Thunderball is broken out to help out with it, but he's not dressed in his wrecking gear guard.
Okay.
But they do give him a new armored outfit to but he's kind of brought in as a consultant to kind of help with their plan because of his intelligence.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But they do give him kind of an upgrade to his ball and chain. It's not powered by Asgardian power, but still a fun little,
I will check it out.
Yeah.
I will read it. Kind of really absorbing. He looks like Ryback.
And knowing he's fucking Titania.
Yeah.
Like they're a couple, and you're like, man, it's just like, how do you get with her? Clearly, Absorbing Man, he's a boss, dude. He clearly knows how to. Well, it's not like you see Absorbing Man macking with too many women anyway. So
true.
Yeah.
Which is good. But, we don't need to see any of that.
Not really. But probably smells like taco seasoning and just be all the time. He just looks like he never bathed.
But Zemo rallying the troops. You have all been humbled in battles against those forces which society deems good. Often you've been beaten and humiliated by Avengers. And who are these Avengers? Their ranks constantly change, yet they remain unbeatable. How do they do it? I can tell you, it's unity. So a good rallying of the troops speech here.
And just emphasizing, that our numbers we outnumber them. We're what we have right now is superior to them already, but we have to be a unit. That we cannot operate. You got your own agenda.
How you guys are used to going about it. We can't do that. We all have to work together in order for this to work. And I love Wrecker just arms crossed, like listening, but kind of like, are you full of shit kind of thing.
And I see Hyde like he's yeah, that's right. They were always losing to these assholes.
Yeah.
And I love how he says we'll go after the Fantastic Four too. Like, I love that touch. Like, they're next.
Yes.
It would have been so cool if this storyline continued to include them in it, and then you have one big, massive team up. That
was the story itself was great, but this was also, not gonna lie, a good driving force of me. Like, all right, you got to read the rest. See if Fantastic Four are gonna show up, because I mean, fuck, man, I would love to watch Fantastic Four go toe to toe, team up with this Avenger team and go against everybody here. It would have been great,
especially knowing how how they get this done, and the story goes on. This could have gone on another 2 issues easy.
Yeah,
and have worked in the Fantastic Four. I just as I feel like I keep talking here, I'm like spoiling shit.
Are you with me?
And yeah.
So this is when the tables turn, and Zemo's like blackout, restrain, Moonstone.
Yep. Just letting her know, like, okay. Just putting her in her place, essentially, because she clearly was the only one who could possibly, maybe put a division in the group there. And having Blackout under Zemo's control with his new headpiece is pretty much he's just checkmated her in this group.
Yeah, because it's always been in the back of his mind. It's like, she's very intelligent. She could easily just overthrow me and ruin this entire thing. So I have to make sure that I'm going to take this, turn it against her, and not have to worry about her.
I just love that shot of Zemo like clenching his fists, and
Well, right here, where he's slamming his fist on the table.
He's he's very good with his hands. A lot of great poses John Buscema has done with his hands. Emphasize like Captain America will die tonight.
Yeah.
My family will finally be rid of this asshole. And they're all getting pumped up. You can count me. I'm in. Yeah.
And then, of course, Moonstone says here, no disrespect meant, Baron, but I want to hear more about your great plan for overcoming the Avengers. Overcome is too weak a word, Moonstone. I speak of the Avengers' total defeat and humiliation.
Yep.
So now we cut back here to the Avengers mansion, which Tony Stark has gifted to them, by the way. We have Jarvis sitting here.
People, if you didn't know, Jarvis was an actual butler, not an AI system. Which, when I saw Iron Man for the first, I was like, they probably doing this because The Dark Knight and Batman were out at the center. Like, it'll confuse the audience, man. Like, Iron Man's got a butler too. He's got an Alfred. Like, I could see them thinking like,
they probably.
But I'm fine with Paul Bettany being the AI, and then he eventually becomes Vision. Whatever.
But here's Jarvis with his cup of coffee or cup of tea. And he's sitting here watching the security systems, and all of a sudden, good heavens, 11:26, this plan begins. And intruder alarm has gone off. Proximity scan shows something trying to breach the front gate. Who could be foolish enough to try such a stunt? That gate is a solid omnium steel. And then here we go. Holy shit!
Yeah, this is who is trying to break in. All one collective unit. I mean, that could be one big splash page, and I wish it was.
Yeah.
To really, just
show a little more detail on everybody too. Yeah,
absolutely. And
so now we have the cannons popping out of the grass, and Goliath is taking care of those,
taking them all out, and the wrecking crew are living up to their name.
Yep, taking out the detention coils.
And Bulldozer just smashes right through the door. It even knocks it this wasn't that much.
Yeah.
And just it really is it's just good to see that the Avengers, it's not just a walk and open the door like an alarm goes off. No, this place is packed out the ass with guns, lasers, anything you can think of,
and a fucking flying stunulator, man.
Yeah.
I love that touch too.
Yeah, and I love how they would put those in a lot of comics.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would try and pinpoint which dirty work could that be?
It grounds those characters. You can't have them talking too comic bookish the whole time.
It just shows I feel like it adds a little bit of realism to them that they use language, and it was a great way to put that in comics by just putting in the little symbols to get that point across.
Yeah, you use your imagination of which word I'm going to use fucking in that case.
Yeah,
stunulators, man. Bulldozer getting over here, showing them off, making them strong.
He's just enjoying it. It's just more things to just trash and bash.
Yeah, and here's Operation Drop Off. Zemo's up here. And, of course, I want to know why we couldn't be in on the assault. You have Titania and Absorbing Man being like, hey, I want to be a part of this. Patience, Absorbing Man. There's still much for you and Titania to do on the outside. You have your orders. Carry them out.
And, God, I just read that, too, about a week or so ago. And I remember they're there to meet shit. Oh, my God. I can't remember. They're there to meet someone else to bring them into the fold, and they end up running into Spider-Man there. Shit.
So that must have been that. So that was the Spider-Man issue then.
Yeah, the Spider-Man issue is that
I didn't read that one.
Yeah, they're there at JFK to meet someone, and I think bring them into the group. And Spider-Man shows up, and then it's just a big brawl at the airport, and of course that fails, but God, I can't remember who it is, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be another member of the Masters of Evil.
Jarvis reaching out, repeat calling all Avengers Mansion is under attack. Does anyone hear me? And then Mr. Hyde pops in. I hear you. Step away from that console now, and I'll only break one of your arms.
And he's serious too.
Oh yeah, no, trust me.
That is a character that's not just just spouting evil dialogue. No, Mr. Hyde is, as you will see later on in this story arc, is not someone who's just blowing hot air as a villain. Like this guy, if he says he's going to break your fucking arm, he'll break both of them, not just one.
Yeah. So I think a whole whopping 5 minutes has passed by this point, and Zemo and Fixer have landed their flying craft on the mansion's third floor hangar deck. Now they're walking through, and Zemo's assessing the damage. It appears our forces have been quite thorough in their work. Excellent.
Yeah, which when you got a group that's that physical,
yes,
and turn them loose in a Avenger-less mansion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys, it's like, oh my god, like I'm surprised, honestly, there's even a building to be, a mansion that's even still standing, honestly.
Poor Jarvis,
I mean, obviously, it's not part of the plan, but if Zemo was not there, it's like, look, go in there, tear the place down, do what you want to it. There would be no Avengers mansion. These guys probably wouldn't run out of strength and air,
Yeah.
The place would just have fallen to pieces there. And they have successfully taken over the Avengers mansion with Jarvis as their hostage. And there's not an Avenger inside who's even aware of it.
Yeah. And there it is. That's what we leave you with that issue. We won't spoil what happens in further issues. Go read 274 through 277 if you want to see the rest. So as it is, Tyler, you could say that the Avengers mansion is under siege, and there's only one man.
One man to call. This is what I'm training for. Johnny, get Cap on the phone. Tell him I got it. First, Johnny, I want to make a sandwich.
That's the only man that can defeat the masters of evil.
He comes in and he's like, Cap, I've trained you. Let me handle this. Like, I'm sure he's the guy. He trained Captain America. He trained Thor. He's stronger than Hercules and Thor.
Oh yeah, he drinks more than both of them combined.
And he can take the arms and break him over his shoulder and slap.
Man, if Joe ever watches this episode, he'll be really pissed.
He's like, "You guys are so wrong, man. Have you guys seen The Patriot? It came out in 1995." No, Joe, it came out in 1997. Do you really want
That's it.
That's it. This podcast is over.
I gotta leave.
I get to make a sandwich. But oh my god, it's such a great one issue that gets that entire group over.
Can I? Oh man, I do want to spoil. I want to spoil one thing in the next issue. So there's a fight between Hercules and Tiger Shark, and it's phenomenal. It's fucking fantastic. It's so good.
What was that like? What part did you like? Okay, when you saw Tiger Shark as part of the group, or when you saw him fight Hercules?
When he fought Hercules.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how much is this Marvel Legend going for?
He's like, I got Tyler Tiger Shark, I think, last year. I wonder if he won.
I did. I got that, Christmas? Was it Christmas?
Yeah, last Christmas. Yeah. Not this past Christmas, but the previous one.
And like, when I got that figure for him, I'm like, yeah, this figure looks fantastic. I know nothing of the character that much, really. But just seeing that, I'm like, all right, sold. And, of course, when you go and you're looking on eBay, like, there's paint chips on the chest and some discoloration. So I'm like, all right, I'll just buy one. Men on card.
Yeah.
Or I think the card is like a little, like the top of it's damaged. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I got this. I'm opening it anyway.
I don't care if there's a shit skid mark on it or not. I'm taking it out of the box. So.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not an inbox collector. Fuck this shit.
Yeah. I can't fathom collecting Marvel Legends for the box.
People do that,
and I know they do. I'm like,
yeah.
Modern stuff. If the packaging was amazing, which it's not.
Well, I see people on Reddit that have the entire Spider-Man retro line. I'm like, that's cool, but all the cards are pretty much virtually the same. That just seems redundant to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But one could argue, right? It's like Master Universe. All of those cards pretty much the same.
But you know what? But the you have slight variations in terms of like little bursts, but then you got the back with the amazing card art and the crossover artwork and stuff like that. Marvel Legends packaging. Even G.I. Joe classified packaging, they're not great. Modern day packaging, there's no incentive outside of you're just habitually collecting mint and box.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, yeah, and even then, like there was a struggle there for a while because they didn't have the windowed packaging.
which was I'm so glad
Yes.
again Hasbro. Thank you for listening to the fans and not and caring about quality, unlike another company. You know, they don't care about it. What you know what? Well, I'll do that someday. It's a different show. But Hasbro, I just always want to commend them for like listening to the GI Joe fans, listening to the Marvel fans. You know,
it's not perfect by any means, but at least they will fix things.
Yeah. I even heard recently, I think that there was talks of like the Falcon figure they did for classifieds. They're looking to do an upgrade on the head.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know how true that is, but I'm like, if that's something like because the head on Falcon is less than desirable.
Terrible. That's pretty bad.
So it would be nice if they.
Doesn't he look like he's wearing lipstick or something?
Yeah, it's a very shitty head sculpt for such a fan favorite character. No, definitely one of mine. Like, I'm sorry, couldn't we just get Don Johnson's face sculpt or something like that? If this is the best you guys could do, it's fucked up, man.
I think someone had put in the chat earlier that you need to buy another Big Boa and just do a custom and make the Rocky Balboa, like how it was originally intended for that figure to be.
I don't think that figure was because the bot like the sculpt, like his armor is sculpted onto him, so it's not like a piece you can take off. So I really don't think the Big Boa figure was originally the Rocky Balboa figure. I think he was made to be an antagonist for Rocky.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, and I've often thought like, you know, Balboa is a play or Big Boa is a play off Balboa, but then I thought Big Boa Constrictor. So I think it's probably more like snake based, but it makes sense to make him the Cobra trainer. You know, Rocky's brought in, which I'm like, I don't understand why they didn't go with Rambo. Like I know Rocky.
Rambo makes the most sense.
So much more sense, but you know, I would have loved to have had a Rocky figure part of G.I. Joe, but Rambo made all the sense in the world. Like it just to see him with the G.I. Joe burst, and even putting, which I feel like Outback was based on Chuck Norris and Missy in Action. Why couldn't we get a James Braddock as part of the G.I. Joe team, man? Like, just get that license from. But then Chuck went and did his own action figure line, much like how Stallone sold his license for a Rambo line. Like, kind of makes you wonder. Like, I don't think there's any printed knowledge that they were ever going after Chuck Norris. I think they were just inspired by Chuck.
Yeah.
But it just shows you how like ballsy G.I. Joe was, Hasbro was back then. It's like, no, we'll get Stallone, but we can get Chuck Norris. Hell, we can get, Arnold. We can make John Matrix part of the G.I. Joe.
Dude, that would have been awesome.
But they have a 3 3/4 G.I. Commando line that fits perfectly with the G.I. Joes, But it would have been awesome if we had John Matrix, John Rambo, and James Braddock is specialist on the G.I. Joe team, man.
There's still time.
Oh, God, yeah. And make them part of the classified line. Oh, my God. How awesome. And have Savage, the villains for the Rambo cartoon, they've aligned themselves with Cobra. Goddamn, pal.
Yeah, no, that would be great. It's like another new faction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how like people like to frown upon like the Street Fighter time. I'm like, no, think of Shadowloo, Bison's organization.
Dude, I love that shit.
I did too, but
I remember specifically there was a Roses weekly ad that had the Street Fighter G.I. Joe figures. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I knew that they were showing up because of that, or if I maybe had seen like the commercial for the toys beforehand and then saw the weekly ad and I'm like, oh, they're going to be in stores. I got to get them. Oh, so good. Oh,
I walked into Hills and had no idea and saw them on the shelf. And then
yeah, your brain just explodes. That's how I felt when I saw the weekly ad and or the commercial. I can't remember what came first or how.
I know I saw the commercials afterwards because then I'm like, oh my God.
So it must have been the weekly ad because I cut that shit out of the paper and put it on
I would have too if I saw that in the ad. Even knowing it, and Blanca was the first one that I got. I'll never forget it. I just thought, oh my God, like not knowing much about the mythology. Joe, go fuck yourself.
Hey, the Patriot came out in '97, by the way, Joe. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, Joe. Just so you know, in case there's, you want to like, brag about your Steven Seagal, knowledge. Which who the fuck wants to brag about that? You know. Well, that's all right. Joe's not here. He can't defend himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's here in the chat.
Well, he's here. Yeah, but he's not here. He's not here to interrupt us and say, "Hey guys, I tell you about the time I played Spider-Man or the time I played X-Men." And you're like, "No, Joe, no."
He'll do it on Sunday. We'll get his opinion on it Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, with Steven Seagal, do you think he could have taken on the Masters of Evil faction? I don't think so.
I don't know. I think the way Steven Seagal runs, I don't think he'd been able to catch up with him, Joe. With his arms flapping around and I'm sure Joe's gritting his teeth and just stomping around, back and forth, pulling his hair out. See, Joe, if you're very calm, you could show up and talk all you want to us, but you're scared of reading. So
well, he's got those half comics or whatever, where like most of them are ripped up and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that I remember. We brought up Zen, the Intergalactic Space Ninja. He's like, "Hey, I have that." I'm like, "How the fuck of all the comics?"
Well, it was the Coupon King, the dumpster guy.
Is that what he got? Is that where he got it from?
I don't know. Probably.
I remember getting that book I think it was at a Rite Aid. When it used to be next to when they had like a spinner rack of comics. I just thought, I had no idea what it was, but it was kind of reminiscent of Ninja Turtles, and they had a toy line on the back of the comic. Oh man, I'm sold.
Gotta buy it.
But I really did. I thought Street Fighter worked so good with G.I. Joe, and I'm sure John, who likes to, is he in the chat room, John?
Actually, yes, he is.
He is.
He tacked on and called his door.
Oh, I'm sorry. John likes to remind me, you and your G.I. Joe fan, I'm better than you. He just likes to tell me that he's better than me because he likes only everything that's military based. Yeah, I love that too, John. But I also have an affinity for Ninja Force. I have an affinity for some of the early 90s, like G.I. Joes. Did they go off the rails? Damn right they did. Because even as a kid, I thought some of this shit was stupid.
Yeah.
And I still had an affinity for the older characters, like the ones that I couldn't find in Kmart and Hills. Like, I wanted a Xandar. I wanted a Zartan. I wanted a Tomax and Zam. I wanted a Destro. But unfortunately, they weren't making them. I had to wait till they were re-released in some other version or something like that.
Yeah,
but I am curious that since John's such a purist, if he saw the Street Fighter toys and thought, man, this is a certain word, and I'm just like, if he denounced that and thought this is fucking lame,
I want to put a ticker there every time Tyler says take a shot every time Tyler says you'd be drunk in 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably so. Well, I guess when I say certain things, I'm assuming Nathan knows what I'm talking about, but probably not.
Well, I mean, when you say that, I'm supposed to sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, John definitely hated that." Or
I just because I've talked G.I. Joe with him privately, and I know he emphasized and I get why so many G.I. Joe enthusiasts and purists once they got to 87, I get why most of them checked out.
Well, I mean, think about that, dude. It's like with other shit that we watched. Turtles would reach a point where it's like the variants became too much. You're like, fuck that. But there's probably some kid out there that really got into collecting turtles when the variants were all the.
But see, I would argue that particular point because I felt like with G.I. Joe, the variants were so few and far between. It was more about new characters, new heroes and villains with every wave. It's just, I guess, for them, the heroes, even though the heroes in 87 were not so sci-fi based, the villains were a bit out there.
But you're going from more of the military, now it's sci-fi and supernatural, and it's I get the disconnect there of why that would be a turnoff when you started there originally and moved forward. It's like, oh, they're doing this shit. Well, I guess it's on its last legs.
But it wasn't complete because I know with Turtles, you got characters like King Lionheart and Scale Tail. They look great visually, but I kind of feel like some of them don't feel like they fit the earlier ways. But then you got Ace Duck, who's a pilot dressed up, a duck dressed up as a pilot.
Yeah.
With wings that can fly, which doesn't seem far-fetched. So I kind of feel like the variants are what killed it, not the original characters. But I look at the heroes in G.I. Joe from 87 on. Most of them, are still pretty well grounded in reality. And even some of the characters that I know, I would argue, as I've done before, there's a place for Crocmaster, there's a place for Big Boa. I personally like Crystal Ball. You've already got Dr. Mindbender. I I get it. Like I know John would probably take a soft serve shit on Crystal Ball, but I like him. I think
there was someone else too once that did that. I can't remember his name, but it was
I
like
think you like to blast a lot of things.
Like, but Ninja Force, people shit on Ninja Force. I'm like, why, man? It's fucking ninjas. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Like they love Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, but a team led by Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, like
it's just that's too much.
Yeah, you've jumped the shark. Fuck you.
Plus, the card art on that was fucking awesome with the pinks and the purples and everything.
The hot pink and Nunchuck, my favorite of the Ninja Force. Like he's all decked out in camo with the mask on.
Yeah.
And his specialty is nunchucks. Like how the fuck do you knock
that? Dude, that was I love Ninja Force line.
Me too. Yeah,
but once again, that's probably just a thing of just that's a parallel, right? Ninja Turtles, Ninja Force, Ninja. But
I know, like I still would have loved any of the older stuff too, but we didn't have access to it. I had to get hand-me-downs of Mainframe and Xandar from people who didn't want them anymore, or they had doubles of them. It's not that I didn't. I loved, the original G.I. Joe cartoon, which is oddly enough in our era, Nathan. They were flopping the Deke cartoon with the Sumbo cartoon. They would flip flop it. So
I remember.
Yeah, so you're seeing characters that you would love to have figures for, but you only get toys and the other cartoon. Like, the D cartoon's got Metalhead, the 87 Cobra Commander, the 88 Destro, Pathfinder and Ambush, the Range Viper, the Saw Viper.
Well, that's when yard sales and flea markets really came in handy of obtaining those older figures that you couldn't really find in stores at that point when we were collecting G.I. Joes. And
they would only do like a few, they would re-release the Cobra Commander with a different look. They would re-release Destro with a slightly different look. And then they would do like the variations like Duke and Flint. They'd suck or whatever. But, I completely understand why so many Joe fans dislike the 90s, but there's always, because they certainly weren't all shit. You've got some duds in it, don't get me wrong. But I feel like there is still a lot up until you got your Eco Warriors, which I'm like about to save the planet shit. Like that's preachy stuff. Like I know it's wrong to litter. Don't
planet's fine. We're fucked, as George Carlin.
Yeah. But I'm like, don't fuck around with my toys. I do not want preaching with my toys.
And
Leave
that's where Captain Planet, man.
The villains were cool, but again, it was another cartoon that was about preaching to me.
Yeah.
Even though it was a cool concept, a catchy theme song, I'm like, it's still about preaching. I'm dealing with this shit at school. You can't watch cartoons without it. You can't play with your toys without it. Like I'm
can't watch Nickelodeon without them telling you need to go plant a tree.
No, it's like, damn it, people. Like I'm not going around taking shits all over everything and just throwing garbage all over the place. I know better than that.
JSP. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, frankly, when you're 6 years old, the world's not listening to you.
Yeah. It's true. JSP asked me a question. Nathan, did you pre-order the Marvel Legends Warbird? I didn't, but it sold out in 3 minutes anyway, so I don't think anybody got it. Everybody was pissed about that. And I'm like, well, I mean, are we really that up in arms about this character? Find more things to be mad about. Yeah. I didn't put it like, I don't know. If you guys do have any questions, we can take a couple and we'll go ahead and
sure.
We'll wrap it up. What's the number run for this story arc? So it starts here at 273, runs through 277. You have an issue of Spider-Man in there, which
you don't have to read it. It's just
you don't have to read the Spider-Man issue. Yeah. But 273 through 277 of Avengers.
And the cover for the last issue. This is a great cover.
Oh yeah, that's the final. Does it say the final battle?
Yeah, final battles on it. Yep. Yeah.
But while we wait for questions, Tyler, what are you watching this weekend?
Definitely The Crow in 4K because I'm gonna check that out. I'm still watching more Miami Vice just because I never get tired of the show.
Yeah,
I was watching Golden Triangle Part 1 and 2 earlier.
Oh hell yeah.
And after that, might just kind of wing it. Other than like sitting down and checking out the 4K scan of The Crow and watching more Miami Vice, I didn't have anything specific in terms of like I'll sit down because a lot of times I just kind of wing it. Like, you know what, I'm in the mood for this or I'm in the mood for that, and sometimes it's fun to just kind of watch random cartoons. I watch a little bit of G.I. Joe because I'm like, since Joe once again was willing to give it a shot. I was like, I was really trying to like just go back and rewatch certain episodes. Like, okay, this one might work for good for a discussion, or this one, like I was already noodling, getting down a list of like 3 or 4 episodes I'd love to throw out to the group, and just for the sole purpose of getting Joe to watch it and tell us his thoughts. Where it's just like, let's have him watch, 2 5-part miniseries. We're not trying to scare Joe away, Deucin.
Yeah. Question for Fedmon: who was the Yellow Jacket in the story? Obviously a woman, but not familiar with this version.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend because I don't know. I feel like the Yellow Jacket character has been used like, I know Hank Pym was the Yellow Jacket at one point, and
that's the original.
The original.
This one is Rita Damara, tomato.
Don't know a whole lot about her just because it's a character I've never sought out, and
she stole the suit. She was able to obtain the suit, and as you come to see throughout this, reluctant villain. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that. I don't know what I'm gonna watch this weekend. There's a movie I haven't watched a trailer for it. I think I might just buy it and go in blind. It's called The Last Stop in Yuma County. It's essentially, I'll read you the synopsis for it if you'd like. Tyler's like, no, it's okay. I'm going to read it to you anyway. While waiting the next fuel truck at a middle-of-nowhere Arizona rest stop, a traveling young knife salesman is thrust into a high-stakes hostage situation by the arrival of 2 similarly stranded bank robbers with no qualms about using cruelty or cold, hard steel to protect their blood-stained, ill-begotten fortune.
Doesn't sound bad.
Yeah. I think, what's his name? It was in this... does it not show the cast list on
Ewan McDonald?
Yeah. Does it not? What the fuck? Usually, oh wait, I think it's Richard. Yeah, Richard Brake. He's been a small character actor in a lot of different things, but I saw him in Rob Zombie's 31, and I know you're gonna like roll your eyes, but he was easily like the best part of it and like the best actor. I'm like, if you put him in something pretty good, it'd be really great. And he's in this, so I was kind of interested, and it was getting decent reviews, and it's cheap to purchase digitally because it just came out today at this like $15. I'm like, might buy that and give it a shot because some of the reviews I was reading says, oh yeah, it's like early Coen Brothers kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of may watch that. I don't know. See where it takes me. Maybe I'll watch the digital Code of the Crow, even though I just watched The Crow not too long ago. Maybe I'll watch it again because that's something I will always watch.
Yeah, it's an easy watch.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just thinking there's certain episodes of Miami Vice. I was like, just wanting to send to you, like, I know you want to watch them in order, but there's something like, yeah, you know what? I really just want to hear Nathan's like perspective on like certain episodes, just because like some of them don't really, need you to watch certain episodes before. Then some like Nathan would probably need to watch a little bit of the few episodes before if he were to watch this one episode. That way he just is like, okay, why is this happening in this episode? Like, well, this all happened like 4 episodes ago, and that, and
I need to jump back into Miami Vice, jump back into like midway or tail end of season 2, I think. So
yeah, I think you got to the end. Yeah, because you did. I know you didn't watch the finale of season 2.
No, I haven't watched that yet. But I'm like, I remember being like 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there.
You were pretty close to it, yeah.
Yeah, so I need to hop back in and check out, dive into season 3 and hit those later seasons.
You got to see the episode where Tubbs goes into the prison like as an inmate, man, undercover, man. Got to see that episode, dude.
I mean, that sounds intriguing to me.
Cowboy Curtis plays the corrupt guard there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Ron Perlman, the Beast himself, plays a guy that's trying to help him, helps get Tubb on the inside. Like
Beast himself. God, the shitty Beauty and the Beast TV show.
I used to watch that show back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, when it was like a regular Saturday night show, yeah.
Oh, my God. I would see like the TV spots for it, but maybe my mom probably watched it, and I'm like, I'm not watching that.
I think it was just I mainly watched it because I would be at my mom was, and she would watch The Golden Girls, Beauty and the Beast, Empty Nest, which I love.
I love Empty Nest. Man.
Empty Nest is all on YouTube. Every episode,
really?
Every season is all on YouTube for free. Yeah.
Oh, I might have to.
I went back and watched damn near every season episode, like by episode, and still found it great.
When did you do that?
This was like in like 2000. It was before COVID.
Okay.
Like I came across like, holy shit, every
I
season's on
love
YouTube.
that show.
Me too.
Man.
It's a great show.
Saturday nights, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was that and Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember specifically there were many Saturday nights where the ones that always stuck out to me would be the Saturdays that we go to Hills, and because Hills wasn't like every weekend, but it would probably be like every other, maybe.
Yeah.
Doing that, of course, you got to go to Burger King, right? So I get like the
chicken tenders.
Yeah, chicken tenders and everything. But I would strategically not eat everything. That way, when we got home, I throw it in the microwave. I had something to eat while we're watching Empty Nest and Golden Girls.
I love that scenario, dude. Yeah. Fucking rocks, man. God, I love it. And that show has never been released on DVD or,
that's
of course,
such a shame.
I don't. And it's a spinoff of Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And it ran for like 6-7 seasons. So
it wasn't
like
it
ran for a show.
Yeah. I might actually have to track that down and just watch a couple episodes just to get nostalgic for a second.
Hot as fuck on that show too, man. Like, Jesus.
And
so was Laverne. I love his nurse / secretary, like Laverne.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, like there's certain episodes like, oh my god, like Park. Her name is Park Overall, I think.
And if. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
I might put on an episode tonight just to.
You should, man.
Yeah.
I expect to get about 18 text messages when I wake up in the morning. Oh my god, the show's great. Emily's into it too.
No, see, that's the thing now that I'm a day walker. Like, I don't drink as much. I drink a little bit. I either fall asleep or I'm just like, oh yeah, I need to go to bed. Like I don't.
Did you fall asleep or did you pass out? Shut up.
Here's a question. Have you guys read X-Men Messiah Complex? I've been wanting to read a good X-Men story, and that one always comes up.
No, I haven't read that. If it's more of the more current stuff,
if it's current, Tyler's like,
yeah. I mean, when I say current, like I've read some 2000 stuff, but not much because I was so picky about the damn artwork.
Yeah.
And I didn't like a lot. Like when the Astonishing X-Men came along, they changed all the looks. Everybody's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And fuck Grant Morrison. I just associate him with all the changes. He's the one that came up with Damien that Batman fucked.
Yeah.
Talia, and they had a baby. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just no. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, so it might be worth your time. I have no idea, bud.
Thudmon says, have you guys decided what shorts of Fleischer Superman you plan on watching? Maybe some of the ones that actually had a challenge for him.
I still maintain we need to watch the Mad Scientist for sure because that was the one that really stuck with me as a kid, and I still love that one.
Yeah.
I'd be open to any of them. Dude, I'm a big fan of that. So I'd say we maybe just pick two.
Mad Scientist, and then let Deucin pick the other one.
I imagine everyone else. Joe would probably get bored because he'd just start playing with his wiener or something like that, and Ram would be like, man, this is trash. Even the animation's
no, I really don't think that'd be the case because when you watch that and you really start to think that animation's 80 years old at this point,
that fucking
and
good,
it looked that great. Holy shit, dude! Yeah.
I just feel like
Grim says magnetic telescope.
Cool with that.
So there we go. That is settled. Also, what is settled? Go ahead and spoil it for everyone here. Thundar the Barbarian this Sunday.
Yeah, episode 1.
Episode 1. Could be doing a little watch along with that. So maybe I'll put the Google Drive link in the description, at least for like a day or two, and have it down there for you guys to watch along with us, or pop out that Blu-ray or DVD set, which thanks to Tyler, I got the DVD set because he upgraded. So that's probably how I'll watch. I need to watch that actually either tonight, tomorrow, some point before we do the show Sunday. Watch that first episode.
It's gonna be so much fun to get everyone's input on that show.
Yeah, and it seems like I think everyone's going to be excited for it because we've been seeing Thundar in the chat. Hey, we're going to do Thundar. We're going to do Thundar. Also, something that we had in the chat, people were asking, hey, you guys got a Discord? Now we do. I went ahead and made one. So link is down below. The invite is there. Come join our Discord. Have all kinds of different categories you can jump in and chat with, and we can just hang out. And I know Tyler's sitting there like, what the fuck's that? What the fuck's a Discord?
Yeah,
You're not the only one. I often struggled with Discord. I used it years ago when a couple friends of mine wanted to play some PC games, and Discord is a good way to have a video or a voice chat channel, so you guys can voice chat while you're playing the PC games. But essentially, it's kind of like a message board in a roundabout way. You click on the hub, and then you see the different categories. You click within that, and then there's just like people chatting. It's sort of like just looking at a text message log. It's very similar to a message board. I know it's kind of new and confusing to some of our viewers because I've talked to Deucin about it. I've talked to Joe about it because Joe was especially confused. They even made a little video for him and sent it to him. Like, here, this is how you go through and operate.
Discord for idiots or something.
Yeah,
like that.
No, not for idiots.
Hey, I would need that book too, Joe.
Well, I just honestly, the good portion of our fan base that watches our show on the regular is either right at our age or more in tune with like Ren, Joe, John's age, James's age. Like, we're all hovering around that 40s, late 40s, 50s range, etc. So something like Discord is very much like, I don't get it. Yeah, so I totally understand that, but link is down below, so come join the Discord. Tom's in there. I'm like, hey, Tom, here's the link. And he's like, all right, well, I'll join. And we'll have him on the show soon enough, within the month, hopefully. There could be some things, but we have some alternate dates set up if you can't go.
We've got like over almost 2 months worth of topics, so we've got everything ready to go. What was that last thing that popped up on the screen?
Just got to go. Thanks for the recommendation. Always love reading different Avengers. So,
please let us know.
Enjoy.
Leave a comment or something. Let us know what you found out, what you think about it.
Yeah, and if you pop into the chat, Fans Power, if you go and you read all those issues, and then by Sunday you're like, let us know what you think.
Let us know. Yeah, don't feel like it's got to, be just for this. Let us know anytime.
Fedmon saying, have you guys seen the thumbnail lineup for Me TV Tunes? It looks to be some good stuff in that lineup. I've heard all kinds of things, like Silverhawks might be in it, and all kinds of shit. So it's good to see that. It's nice.
Yeah, I don't have cable, but it's. Nice
I don't either, but it's nice to know that something like that.
If they were to make that a streaming service, I would subscribe to it. Probably just.
I'm surprised they haven't done that already. Just throw all of these obscure, lesser known cartoons on one whole thing. It's just like, there you go.
Like a Boomerang network.
Yeah.
But
make it free, like at Tubi and stuff, and then the commercials, make it all retro toy commercials in between.
Or retro, like cereal fast food commercials.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, God, that'd be awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Take that advice. But with all that said, we will go ahead and wrap this up. I hope everyone enjoyed this. I certainly did. I'm blowing more money. The good thing about that, we didn't mention this. The Marvel Legends that I'm accumulating, price-wise, very good. Very, very good. I'm like, finally.
Something that's not going to oh my God, $80 for this guy? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Even and I haven't gotten them yet, but like I'm looking at Build-A-Figure Mr. Hyde. I'm looking at Absorbing Man. He's a Build-A-Figure, which but I think when I bought the Thunderball, I think he came with two of the balls. So I'm like, well, I think I have one, an extra one. I'm just give that to Absorbing Man when I bought it.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't released a more up-to-date Absorbing Man.
It'll probably happen eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm holding out hope. Maybe we'll get a Wrecking Crew box set. And you can toss Absorbing Man in there if you want to.
Yeah. That or give me like an up-to-date or a more classic Whirlwind. Give me, which the Baron Zima we've got is not like the exact one we got here. It's kind of like the more kind of more modern Zima, which is still great, but it's not like Secret Wars features Baron Zima in the toy line, but he's not featured in any of the books.
Yeah.
It's very comic accurate. Daredevil's in it. Hobgoblin's in it. Why the fuck?
Yeah. It's very, very strange choices, but also I'm looking at that first Baron Zemo, that 2-pack on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
I just gotta wait. I gotta wait it out. I'm like, yeah, I can't. You can't just spend all this at once.
Yeah, I've kind of been tapped out with like the fun stuff and necessities. All the bills are paid, but I get paid next week. As long as I want to hold on to a lot of money now, so that way I've got money to play with next week. I'll still shop and on my breaks at work and stuff.
Oh yeah, you still gotta look.
Yeah, I mean I'm drinking my C4 bomb pop and my great popsicle bomb energy drink. I'm like, okay, this is available. That's available. So
yeah,
blow
all your money. That's
yeah.
what I like to say.
Casually, but I'm going to blow it all just over time.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you go and you read this, like we said before, let us know what you think. I think it's fucking excellent. Loved every bit of it.
I love that.
Highly recommend it. Go read the rest of it. And I can't say that until then. Gosh, leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video. Make sure you like it. Please do that. It helps us out a lot. Leave a comment down below. As we said before, if you're not subscribed, please do that already. And until next time, we'll catch you next issue.
How did your uneducated kind ever take Jerusalem? God knows.
I never know most of the time.
Well, I will say my hint is that we were going to cover this movie a long time ago, and we have legendarily kept putting it off.
Oh, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, someday maybe.
Hey, Joe, have you watched it yet? Because if you have, we can cover it next week.
No. Is that even streaming anywhere anymore?
I have no idea.
Because that was the biggest hang up on it too. Yeah, it's not even streaming anywhere.
Yeah.
It was streaming on Max, and then it was Netflix, and it went to Max, and then now you gotta buy it. But then it's like, are you gonna watch the theatrical release, or are you gonna watch the director's cut? Yep. Because there are
big differences, major differences,
and we need to talk about it eventually.
I know, damn it. We could talk. We could talk about like the action figure line that was tied in with it, and as well. I feel like it could be.
You know what?
Above and beyond the movie as well.
Let me toss this out to you. Why don't you and I just do it one Friday?
You know what? We probably should.
We'll do that. We'll talk about the differences. We'll talk about the toy line, and we'll just do it so we can finally say we did it and put it behind us.
Yeah, I don't think Ren will be upset. I know Rebecca may want to talk about it at some point because she likes it. Deuce, I have no idea if Deuce gives a shit, but. I feel like we put it off. So like we need to pick a Friday and just do it. And that way Joe's like, oh, thank God. Because I'm sure.
And maybe Ren and Deucin too. We don't know.
We don't know, but we just know Joe probably lost sleep when he really thought he was going to sit down and watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He's like, oh my God. I mean, I got to sit down and watch this movie. Like I didn't grow up with it. Both versions. Like, someone gets sick. Well, someone need their house rebuilt. Because does someone need like a Donald Duck turned into a Thundercat figure? By God, please, somebody.
We'll see you for Thunder on Sunday.